Hi, this is Dr. Kelly Donohoe with at Dr. Kelly Donohoe. And today I would like to talk about what we can do and how to set appropriate boundaries if we are feeling overwhelmed with other people expecting us to return their phone calls and texts and emails, etc., and what we can do about it. So the reason I thought of this idea actually because the reporter was asking psychologists for input on this, and it got me thinking, wow, that is for real. So, and also I love the topic because setting boundaries is something that we can always be working on. So, no matter what's going on in the world, I want to give you some helpful tips to help you set boundaries appropriately with the people you love in your life in a way that hopefully helps you maintain a healthy relationship without feeling like you have to hurt them. So, the first thing is you have to know what you want and what you're willing to give. When I'm talking with patients about boundary setting, that's always the first question I ask them. What do you want? What is okay with you? So let's talk for a minute about communication. So let's focus on that as a boundary for now. But you can use these tools for anything. The first step is knowing what you're okay with. But let's say that we're talking about how often you communicate with someone. So I've worked a lot with women and I've worked a lot with college students. And something that they bring up a lot is I'm getting phone calls a lot from my parents checking in to see if I'm okay, or sometimes it's friends checking in. Right now, people are checking in with each other, but we have different amounts of need or tolerance or desire to communicate, right? And so the first thing is to think, what is okay with you? Now, the first idea is in an ideal world, how much would you want to be communicating? So is it once a week? Is it once a day? Whatever that number is, I don't care. There's no judgment based on it. There is no right or wrong. Know that and write it down. So whatever it is that you're okay with, whatever the boundary is we're trying to set, the first thing is to know what you want and write it down. So let's use an example. Parents are calling and checking because they're nervous, and I get that. I want to know how you're doing, and you're okay with talking every other day. That I'm just making that up. It could be once a week, it could be once a month. I don't know. But let's just go with what every other day. So step one, know that, write it down. Because when you enter the negotiation slash boundary setting process, it'll be really helpful to have that piece of paper with your what you actually want written down. So step one, know what you want. Step two, find the way that you can most clearly express what it is that you want. And so a lot of people that's text and not person to person. A lot of us have a really hard time when we get into a person to person discussion. We can get kind of lost and end up leaving feeling like, what just happened? I said yes. What? So that's fine. Is it ideal? Would you love to work up to a life where you can look people in the eye and say, this is what I'd like, and that's what it's going to be. Yes, that's great, but most of us aren't there, and it's okay as long as you're clear and you're kind to offer up your boundary in whatever way works for you to be as clear and concise as possible. So figuring out what your method is and sort of getting ahead of the situation, right? Like getting a lot of calls and then reacting is very different than thinking about what you'd like in a thoughtful way and then sharing that in a clear way. So let's say that you're okay with talking every other day. So you send a text that says, I really love talking with you. Got a really lot going on. Also, not feeling like communicating every day. Happy to talk every other day. So the next time we're going to talk is in 2 days. And we can talk at 10 o'clock or 11. If those times don't work for you, let me know. But be clear and set times. And I'm going to tell you a secret. When we do that, it helps the other person's anxiety too. Like we all have some level of anxiety. That's just a fact of life. And when someone knows when they're going to talk to you, what time and how often, they don't have that feeling of when's it going to be, when's it going to be, when's it going to be, right? Oh, look at my poor dog. We can't even talk about him today. It's been a rough situation. So you're actually helping. Boundaries help people feel secure. That's one of the reasons therapists have so many boundaries, right? Boundaries are wonderful in parenting, in all relationships. We need boundaries. So step number one, know what you want. And step number two, clearly communicate that boundary. Step three, if you got this far, congratulations. Step three, hold the line. That means when your boundary gets pushed against, you just hold firm. You don't have to be mean. You don't have to be defensive. Say nothing, really. So if someone's, we agreed that we're going to talk on the phone on Wednesday at 10 a.m. and they are calling and calling, either ignore or you can send a text saying, just want to remind you, we're going to talk on Wednesday about that. It doesn't have to be mean. It doesn't have to be trite. It can just be very clear. And you may have to do that a few times before the boundary is secure and understood, right? It's like you're building the wall. So the person comes along and it's not bad of them or wrong or anything. It's just human nature. All relationships like to maintain status quo. So when you're building a boundary, you're changing status quo, and people don't like that. It doesn't mean they're manipulative or a bad person or whatever words you might want to use. It just how it is. So expect it and take any of those hot emotions and set them over there. So those are the 3 steps to building an effective boundary. Good luck, and I hope it works out for you. Boundaries are beautiful. Take care.